Hey everybody, welcome to Subscriber Sunday. It is 7:30. We are getting things started right on time, and I see people are coming into the chat, and so I thank you for coming here and being here with me tonight. So I'm going to skip this ad over here. There we go. So if you can hear me and see me, please give me a 5x5 and let me know that everything is working. Because apartment prepper, woo! Thank you for being here tonight and moderating the chat for me. Tonight I do have a topic. I'm going to focus a little bit about knowing your rights, okay, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some prepper scenarios toward the end of the chat. So I'm looking forward to that. And I feel really nervous tonight for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like I'm out of the loop or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm just going to make a quick announcement as people are still coming in. And let's see, what's the date? August 30th through September 3rd, September 2nd. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to be doing a live stream every afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and it is to talk about off-grid education. So I'm calling it Off-Grid Education Week. And of course, I'm a homeschool mom, and so we're going to be focusing on homeschooling, but also with a focus on being prepared to have, educating your kids at home in the event that there could be grid down, or we could have something else happen, like maybe a repeat of 2020 or something, which I don't think will happen again, but you never know, right? And about maybe building a community, in your area if it was to come to that. So anyway, I'm going to be doing that starting August 30th, the 31st, September 1st and 2nd, and then I'll leave the 3rd open as an optional date for Q&A in case anybody wants to have any questions. But I'll be doing it at 1 p.m. every day live stream here. So look for the live stream setups. I'll start setting up the streams, and then you can set your notifications so you're not late. All right, so let's say hi to some people in the chat. Let's see, we have the Biggs Prep. Hello, my friend. And Apartment Prepper, again, thank you for being here tonight. Lori's Thrifty Kitchen Pantry, glad to see you. LG, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here tonight. The Virginia Bushcrafter, welcome. Thank you for being here. Van City Prepper, thank you for being here and also moderating and sharing all of the wonderful prepper channels that we have. Renata Clark, hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm not sure if you've been on one of my streams before, but glad to see you here. Martin, welcome. I'm glad to see you. And who else? X24 Reviews. Thank you for being here. Rita, glad to see you here. Okikon. And let's see, did I get everybody? And I know that my moderators will be saying hello and welcoming people into the chat as we go on throughout the evening. So thank you for being here. All right, so this is a topic that's very important to me, your rights, knowing your rights. And one of the big reasons is because I'm a homeschool mom. This isn't just about homeschooling, but but as a homeschool mom, and knowing our rights, that this is an inherent right. Everybody has the right to homeschool their child. All 50 states allow it, but just some states have different laws. Some are very strict and some are very lenient as far as how friendly they are for homeschoolers, but you can homeschool your child. But again, this is not about homeschooling, but that is why I got started, about knowing what my rights were as, a citizen, as a parent. And so it's something that's, I'm about freedom. I stand for freedom in all aspects, to, raise your family the way you want, to live on your homestead, to live off your land, just to stand up for truth, to be able to worship as you please. And that's what America is about, right? So, but I stand for something even higher than freedom, and that is truth. And there is no freedom if there is no truth. And my definition of truth that I found here, just looking in the dictionary, is that which is in accordance with fact or reality, okay? And so when we're talking about truth, and we're going to talk about our rights and how we're protected. And I think you all know, but if this is just a reminder for everyone, because over the last couple years, I have found that there are a lot of people that don't truly understand what our rights are. We say that we have them. We always talk about, the Bill of Rights and number 1 and number 2. But we need to understand, and sometimes we just kind of we go with the flow of the mainstream media or just the public general thought. But sometimes people think that we talk in terms of the Constitution giving us a right. And I'll use women voting, for example. The Constitution, or just that whole thing of women's suffrage, it didn't give us the right. We already had the right. We had the right because we had a voice. We were an individual, but we were suppressed, right? We didn't have our say. It was illegal for us to vote. However, we fought for the right. We didn't fight for someone to give us the right. We fought for the right that we already had. And everybody, any person in the United States already had. And that's why we had all the amendments to the Constitution about, voting and the history of voting. So just go look that up. But the Constitution, sorry, I'm looking at notes. So like I said, I feel really nervous tonight. I don't know why. But the Constitution and our government, but the Constitution doesn't give you rights. It protects you from a government that wants to take your God-given inalienable rights. That's what we have that for. So we have inalienable rights. Where do they come from? God. We are born with them. We have a Constitution that protects our rights. And then we have leaders that we have elected that have sworn an oath to protect that Constitution, which protects our rights that we were given and born with from God. Okay. That's how that is. So we need to make sure that we're talking correctly when we're talking about, having like the right to vote, and saying, well, that the Constitution gives us that right. We need to make sure that our language is correct, because that kind of language over time will change our thinking, and we tend to like, wait, what do you mean the Constitution doesn't give us a right? No, it doesn't give us the right. It protects the right that we already have. And we need to operate from that mentality that you already have the right and the freedom to worship, as you please, or not, to homeschool, to homestead, all right, to carry, we're talking, 2A stuff, or to say no to certain procedures and pin jabs that, have happened over the last couple of years. So that's one thing that I again, make sure that we're talking correctly. Words do matter, because if we're not paying attention, things are going to slide in and slide under the radar, and all of a sudden they become like enshrined. For example, Amendment number 1, and if you guys don't have like a pocket Constitution, which way am I going here? Let me just do this. If you guys don't have a pocket Constitution, you should get one, but you can always find it on the internet and print it off. That's a lot of paper, but you should get a pocket Constitution. And if you want one, I'll be happy to send you one. If you just write, hashtag Constitution in the comments, I'll be happy to send you one. We'll connect somehow, and I'll send you a little pocket Constitution. I'm also a Constitution coach, certified by the Patriot Academy. And that's where I took a lot of my, I'm not a lawyer, a constitutional law person. I'm just someone who coaches people into understanding what the Constitution is, how it came to be, the history of it. I just happened to see this comment. Thank God we have rights in this country. It's not so great in other places. We really have it good here. And we do have it good here. And as bad as things may seem right now, we still have this, okay? But we need to actually use it. Was it Benjamin Franklin? I think that after they signed everything and ratified the Constitution, people asked him, well, what do we have? Do we have freedom or something? I forget the question. He says, well, you'll have freedom or republic. That's what it was. If you keep it, if you work to keep it. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we know this. Okay. A Black's Law Dictionary. Yep. And you'll also, y'all, and speaking of dictionaries, you should all get a Webster's, is it 1828 dictionary? You can even access that online, but to get a copy of it would be good too. Because a lot of the Old English that they use in like even the Bible, and sometimes in our, in our old documents and stuff, that will help you understand what those words really mean. And also, while I'm on the topic of going back and looking at old things, if you can ever read any of the lives of the signers of the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution and read their letters, and I've got some books that we use in our homeschool that you can go and read their letters that they wrote back and forth to each other. It really opens your eyes to their heart and what they knew they were up against. I mean, they were going up against a tyrannical king. X24, you know your stuff, don't you? You'd be surprised how many everyday terms are legal terms and are used against us. Exactly. And so what I want to do is just read. Okay, so the First Amendment, everybody kind of knows the gist of the First Amendment, but I'm going to read it. I feel sorry, you guys. I don't know why. I feel like I'm so nervous tonight. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm so passionate about this topic. And so I feel like I'm just rattling off. I have not had but one cup of coffee today. So all right. So Amendment number 1. Okay. I'm reading it right directly from the thing. Okay. All right. So Amendment number 1, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's a lot in there. But do you know what happened? And I don't remember what year, so some of you that are really great on history and stuff like that can maybe share it down in the comments. But at some point, and I think it had to do with the flag, the people that were like burning the flag and stomping on it and stuff, because technically that's illegal to do that. But the Supreme Court was ruling on that particular incident, and what they said in their ruling was that people that were abridging the freedom of speech and expression, the Supreme Court whoever that particular person was snuck that in there, and it says, or abridging the freedom of speech and expression. They snuck that in there, but that is not the actual terminology, and it has never been changed to, as of today, this amendment still reads this way. And it's never been changed. But if people were to say, oh, it's expressing themselves, so they can burn the flag and they can stomp on it, but they snuck that in there. So this is, again, we have to be careful, because something else that we all need to remember is that Supreme Court rulings are not law. All right. They do not create law. That's not the Supreme Court's job. We have a branch of our government here in the United States that does the laws. The Supreme Court does not make a law. They just rule. They make a ruling. They make opinions. They write opinions, right? So their job is supposed to tell us whether or not a particular law, that a state makes, whether or not it's constitutional or not. Okay. Oh, thank you, Apartment Prepper. Look at you. Pocket Constitution and Declaration of Independence. She put an Amazon link there. Thank you, LG. Yes, same. I'm getting to that. Executive order or emergency declaration, they're not laws. And I'm probably going to get dinged by YouTube from this, but y'all say it with me together. Mandates are not laws. Say it again for those people in the back. Mandates are not laws. Okay. All right. Because, all right, we're moving really fast, because you know why? Because y'all are really smart and y'all got your act together. All right. Hang on just a second. There was something that I wanted to share with you. And so I'm looking. here, and it had something to do. It was in an email that I got, and I wanted to share it with you, but I want to make sure I got to the right part in the email. Well, poo-poo, I can't find it in the email. All right, we won't share that screen. So right, yeah, see, y'all are with me. Mandates are not laws. All right, so let's just drink some tea to that, okay? All right. So here's some things. When I've been a busy little beaver since 2020, and when things started really like going down the drain in all of our states, but I can only pay attention and do things in my state of Virginia. So there you go. So what I did is I created a binder. See this binder? And it says legal on it. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to be giving legal advice. But I'll tell you where to go to find legal advice and where to get your rights. But anyway, yeah, I'm not a lawyer. But what I did is I put together everything in pertaining into my state. I put together a binder full of legal information. And I also went through an employees' rights class that I took because here's a story. Ready for story time? Okay, so last summer, my youngest daughter was 15, and she got a job at a cafe as a barista, and it was a small-owned business. And the places here in my area, there were a lot of businesses like our little ice cream places or our little cafes, just some other businesses are, everybody was closing early or they weren't even opening because of nobody wanted to work. They didn't have enough employees. And so this particular cafe was a favorite of mine for about 4 years. And so anyway, she said, I want to work. Will you hire someone that's 15? And he said, yeah. She went in for an interview. She was hired. She started the next day. And so the summer is going along. And about this time last year, yeah, it was like the beginning of August, he decides to implement a pin jab policy. Yeah, y'all know what my code speak is, right? Okay. So he decided to implement a pin jab policy. And I said, oh boy, so this wasn't even, there was nothing about any kind of facial coverings or a pin jab or anything when she got hired. It wasn't a condition of her job, but all of a sudden her pin jab status became an issue. So I put a folder together. And in the folder that I gave to him, this is why y'all need to be prepared, okay? In the folder I gave to him, I have like right here, I have several copies of a religious exemption letter for pin jabs, okay? And I have used it with my county for homeschooling. I've had to send that in. I had to send it, I gave a copy to our doctor, and did I have to, so then I gave him a copy too. I said, well, I guess it's time that I need to give him a copy for her. So anyway, I gave him that. And then I also gave him forms that are, let me see if I can pull this out for you. Okay. There's this long, see this long form with all these pages? All right. What it has in here is all of these codes, federal codes, Virginia codes, all this stuff about freedom. No consent for medical testing. Okay, so no testing and no face coverings and no pin jabs. Okay, and so anyway, I asked him to fill this information out and asked him if he could to inform him politely that he was not allowed to give out medical information, medical advice, because that's what it is, by I need you to get this in order to stay here at work and that kind of thing. So that's actually giving out medical advice. He said that she was going to lose her job if she didn't get it. And so that's also against the law. And so one of the things that, what was the other thing that we gave him? Is we gave him a whole packet of information about, hang on a second, let me find it. That we had, oh, here it is. Okay. So here's some information right here. See where it says Children's Health Defense? Okay. There are 3 forms here that said that it is violating our rights as an individual, and this is for everybody, that to require us to wear something or have a medical procedure done. Okay, you guys picking up on my signals here? Okay, it's against the law to do that when it was experimental. All right, and so I put him on notice to let him know that what he was doing was violating the rights of my daughter. Plus, she had a religious exemption letter. And so he took some of that information, didn't read all of it, but he said, I'll accept her religious exemption status. But she still has to wear the thing across her face. And I said, no, we have a religious exemption against wearing that as well, because we are made in the image of God and we don't cover the image of God. Okay. We don't cover our faces. So anyway, he didn't like that. And so he let it go. And then a couple days later, he was harassing her at work and said, you wear a mask or you leave. And she said, I don't have to. I don't have to wear a mask. And he said, well, you're not pin jabbed. And so you're a direct threat to my business and to my family. So no, that's also against the law too. It's also against OSHA rules and all that. But you see this right here where it says direct threat, legal definition. Okay. It's up to the employer or whoever it is. It's up to them to provide to prove that you are a direct threat. It's not your burden. It's up to them. Okay. So anyway, I said all of this to tell you, take some time and do some research. Okay. I want you to look up. Oh goodness. Where are they? I need you to look up some things. You need to look up what our rights are. And all right, so you're legally exempt from wearing anything and being subjected to temperature taking, viral testing, or pin jabs, all right? And that's U.S. federal law, Title II of the Civil Rights Act. You need to look at that, okay? You need to look that up. You need to also, this is the other thing I wanted to show you. Did I bring it up here? Shoot. No. I had a copy of it, and I hate to show you this small thing. But anyway, we had this little card that we carried around that said religious exemption that's signed. And then, but it was also informing people, because a lot of businesses and other people didn't even understand what their rights were. Businesses had the right to say no to things. They can run their business. How do I say this? They can run their business. They can't be ordered to shut down and things like that. So I said all of this. I know it has a pin jab slant to it. However, if you don't know what your rights are as a citizen, as far as what your civil rights are, what your religious rights are, this affects you in all aspects, from homesteading. And I think there's even a homesteading act that was signed years ago. And I just started looking at that. And if you want to know about your state homestead laws, there's a really good website that is findlaw.com. And let me just type that in here, findlaw.com. And that will help you search for homestead laws. And so just search for that. So, oh my gosh, let me just look at some of the comments here. Yeah, there's a lot of debate about this, Renata, so I'm not really going to talk about that tonight. But yes, there is a lot of debate about that. There's lots of laws that aren't laws, actually. Yep, we have been too passive on our leaders. We need to stand up for our rights. Yes. And so I said a long story, and I went down a little bit of a rabbit trail. My daughter, who was 15, stood up to her employer, and she was telling him what her rights were according to these things, the Constitution, Title II, Title VII, the Civil Rights Act, all of these things that protect us. And plus everything is still experimental, EUA only. And she said, I don't have to do this. This is against my rights. You're violating my rights, my religious rights, all of these things. And she stood up to him. And so, there wasn't a whole lot we could do because he was a small a small business, but we did file with the EEOC. We did get some legal counsel, and you guys, especially for Christians, Liberty Counsel is an excellent counsel to seek out for anything that happens to you at work, even your homestead, okay, things that you're experiencing, even in the military. And I want to show you something. We did have a victory here. Oh, wait, here's something. Let me just jump here to what the Biggs Prep said. My friend's husband successfully defended himself from the ouchie with T-Mobile with Constitution rights. Absolutely. There are so many people that have pushed back. And I did have, and so on the Christian side, and I can maybe do another video about this, I had so many conversations with people, including the pastor, who is now my former pastor, but my pastor, people in a church, that they were looking for a biblical mandate to be able to say no. And I'm like, it's no. It's no. You say no, I mean, oh my goodness. That's a whole other story. Oh, I know you can't take notes fast enough. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. But that's excellent, Cynthia. My husband was able to get his religious exemption accepted as well. And this is something I also want to tell you about religious exemptions. You never needed one. The government wanted to tell us, and even employers wanted to tell us that, well, if you want to say no to the vaccine, that you had a couple exemptions. You can only do medical or you could do religious in order to say no. And that is not true at all, because all of that, everything I was trying to give you code on, this, wearing a face covering, having a test, and having a pin jab, is all experimental use authorization. All of it. You had every right according to, hold on. You had every right to refuse under the Nuremberg Code, and U.S. I'm sorry, hold on a second. Where is it? 21 USC. These are under the United States Code. All of this, everybody had. The Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act states the individuals to whom the product is administered are informed that the secretary has authorized the emergency use of the product only, and you have the right to refuse. Okay, you didn't need a religious exemption. You didn't need a religious exemption to say, no, I'm not doing that. And you can't fire me because of it, especially if you were hired and it wasn't a condition of your job. All right, so you never needed a religious exemption to begin with, but a lot of us got them anyway, and did it. And I had a religious exemption for pin jabs. How long have I been homeschooling? 17, going on 18 years. So anyway, so I had a PCP fire me as his patient because I worked at a hospital, and he said I would make his office sick, even though he was letting the rest of the public into his office. Doesn't make sense to me. And that's exactly, Lori, what we said to my daughter's employer. It's just that he was letting everybody else in because you couldn't do it. You couldn't refuse people to come into your business without, to shop and to have coffee and whatever, not, to wear a mask. But people were just like what you were saying, is that they were saying that you are a direct threat by doing that, and they would have to prove that. Every office or cafe or whatever would have to prove that you're a direct threat. And so wrongful termination is what that would be. There were some other terms that I learned. Retaliation. Retaliation was one, because my daughter was fired because of because she said no to wearing, which rightly she could say no. This is the first time I told her she could stand up to an adult and say no. So anyway, Okay, bye. Oh, bye, Rita. She's probably already gone. So, yeah, American Center for Law and Justice, they're pretty good. But I have to say, Liberty Counsel has won so much, and also the ICANN Network, Informed Consent Action Network. They are, if you can find them online, ICANN.org, I think, or it's just look for Informed Consent Action Network, and they will they'll send you emails about everything that they're doing with the FDA and the CDC and all of these things. They're in front of these people all the time, pushing them for transparency, for what is the documents, FOIA documents, all of that. They're pushing for transparent information. And you know what? There's a whole bunch of stuff that has come out, but I guarantee you it's not getting into the mainstream media. You need to get those emails in your inbox so you know what's going on. Hey, Little House in the Big Woods. I just saw you go by. I'm scrolling through. Hold on. Yeah. Hello, Rebecca. Better off with a different doctor if you have different medical views. Absolutely. Absolutely. If they just give you too much trouble, then just find another doctor, because there are some that are out there. Right. It's so many of what these employers and what these doctors and people are doing, it's wrong. And I found that there just aren't a lot of people that were standing up to their employers, or even standing up for their faith. As far as the churches go, we had so in the beginning of 2020, so I'm looking at around March, in my area in Virginia, we had like all of the churches in my county shut down. And I was so mad because it hurt my heart, because of all the times when a church would shut down is a time when people need a place to go. A lot of people, when they're confused and they're hurting, they seek out a church, and no church was open. Well, there was one down in Chincoteague Island, or Chincoteague, well, it's on the very east coast of Virginia. He opened up, and his ministry, it really is to the community and to the addicted in his community. And I know the program he was running in his church, and he opened up. He would not close, and he opened up. He did practice social distancing, and he was targeted. The police were actually targeting him, and when he opened his doors, they went in there and they served him or a citation or whatever it is that they do. I say give him a ticket, but I don't know what that really is. I think it gave him a citation that he was like breaking some law. And I'm like, there's no law broken here, because your rights and our rights, these things, these right here, they do not disappear in a pandemic. Y'all remember that, okay? In case this happens to come again, because we got the pox coming out, okay? So y'all do not let them tell you that you have to shut your church down, okay? And because your rights don't fall away or disappear. The Constitution doesn't disappear in a pandemic. None of that. So what was it? Was something else that I had written down here. The other thing was common belief is not greater than law. Okay. Oh gosh, what was the other thing? It was I got my notes from my class. I think I'm skipping around here. Company policy does not override the law. That was something else I wanted to share with you. You guys don't have to walk around proving that you're healthy. Oh, here's the thing. Nothing comes before a right. Okay? It's enshrined in our Constitution, and there are federal statutes that protect that and back that up. Okay? Nothing comes before a right. Not a pandemic, not a mandate, an executive order, whatever. None of it. Okay? So y'all remember that. All right? And I lost track of what I was talking about. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. This was a recent victory that we had. I'm going to show this on the screen. Okay? Can you guys see that? Let me go to full screen here. All right, here we go. Here's a victory that we had. This is from Liberty Counsel, okay? Thursday night, and this was as in like just a few days ago. Judge Mary Day issued class action relief and issued a preliminary injunction protecting all active duty and reserve Marines. From what? From the mandatory pin jab, okay? This has been a thing in the Marines, and my daughter she had a boyfriend and who was in the Marines, and unfortunately, he was let go because he refused the pin jab. All right. And so these two people that Liberty Counsel was defending, they're Zachariah, and I think the other young man was Jeff. Yes. And so I highlighted this little section right here. Okay. Judge Mary Day specifically mentioned Zachariah's plight. What had happened was that they were given 2-day warning of discharge. They gave them 48 hours, and they said, all right, well, they had submitted their religious exemption. They had gone on for a little while. These young men were stripped of all of their duties down to being nothing but a grunt. And so they had a 2-day warning of a discharge. And Jeff is the one that had to actually, he had a family. And so they had to pack up and leave it quickly, and they ended up going back home to his parents' house. And so this, as you see down here, suggests retribution and retaliation, all right, the existence of which detracts from the Marine Corps' claim elsewhere in this action to good faith treatment of a religious objector. And this happened a lot in all branches of the military. And so while the preliminary injunction protecting all active duty and reserve Marines, this is a joyous victory, and we look forward to achieving class certification for the U.S. Coast Guard and U.S. Army next. All right. And you would think the military would learn, from past experience when we had anthrax and all of that. And so this is good news for the Marines, okay? And this is going to set a precedent for other active duty military. And so, again, knowing your rights is huge, because a lot of these active duty service members, were able to stand on the protections of their religious objections to, this pin jab. I keep wanting to say some words. I'm probably going to get dinged anyway, but anyway, y'all are getting really good here in the chat, and there's so many comments I'm not even mentioning. And so if you guys got some questions or something that you want to say, I'm going to scroll back here and see. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Rapture Prepping. Thank you. I see Nene's in the house. So this is something I want to mention here. So the Biggs prep, I'm so sad because the Army made my son get it in order to continue his career. I think that there may be retribution here. Now, you can't take it back. All right. You got the pin jab, and you can't take that back, but going forward, he should be able to, I don't know exactly what kind of process he can go through. I don't know if you can actually sue, but there might be some things there for him, because there was a friend of mine who was actually, they threatened his family. Well, threatened him. Wait a minute. I'm not saying this right. They threatened him with not seeing his family if he didn't get the pin jab. And that's coercion, and that's wrong. And that's also against, there's Army, or there's military precedents. Rumsfeld versus something, Dobbs, I think that's the case, and that is the one that set the precedent for, it's like, no, we're soldiers and we don't get experimented on. No. Okay, same thing for people. And where I was finding a lot of families in my area that had their sons and daughters in military, they would say to me, well, the military owns you. Okay, to a degree, they own you. They can say, yes, you need to go, you signed up, you need to go over here and fight for our country. You need to go here. I get that part, but they don't own your personhood. And so you are not to be experimented on. You have a religious objection to this medical procedure, which was still emergency use authorization to this day. And so, no, I'm not doing it. And so what a lot of a lot of military servicemen and women did is they left. And they left and they were either dishonorably just discharged, which my daughter's, well, now ex-boyfriend, um, but at the time, my daughter's boyfriend, he left, and he was not supposed to be dishonorably discharged, because I believe there was a Senator Johnson, I think, was the one that said that no service member, if they were going to be leaving, they should not be dishonorably discharged. They may not get some benefits, but at least there was that. And it broke my daughter's boyfriend's heart, because all he wanted to do was be a Marine, but he ended up leaving. And so his whole future was just crushed. And he knew he was doing the right thing by saying no. But, this whole thing, there's a whole bunch of soldiers that should be going back and saying, yeah, no, what you did was wrong. And we're going to start holding our higher ups accountable. Okay. Without fear that, oh gosh, that's the other thing, is that they should be able to say no without fear of, something really bad happening to them, Oh, this stuff just burns my biscuits. It makes me sassy, y'all. I cannot. Yes. Roaming prepper, they should sue the Department of Defense in a time when we need additional service members because of a shortage. This is ridiculous. It absolutely is. And there was a hearing that I want to say that I know Senator Johnson had a panel. There is a woman from the Air Force who was in charge of all of the pilots, I believe, or how, I don't know exactly what her title was, but she was testifying that this pin jab was putting all of the pilots at risk. And there is even, she said, so that's affecting our military readiness, because you never know what's going to happen. And there are pilots that are flying commercial airlines. There's one man who has come forward, and he is talking, or he is sharing his story. He had just landed a big 747. He had just landed the plane. They park the plane, and he gets up and walks out of the cockpit, and he just has a heart attack and just falls right there. And so now he is forever grounded. He can't fly a plane anymore. He has heart issues. And he is kind of shining the light on all of this. And he's telling you, if you are a pilot and you have been pin jabbed, then you really need to ground yourself and not fly, because you might be a danger. And so there's, anyway, that's a deviation. I'm deviating to other topics. So, but again, yes, this is because there's a shortage. There's a service member shortage. It is affecting our military readiness. This is not a good time to be doing this. We should be, letting everybody serve. Stuff burns my biscuits. All right, let's see. Scrolling through some more chat. Let's see. Kim's Rural Life. Hello. The CDC has opened up the avenue for lawsuits. Yes, which many employees are settling with the employers that fired them. Yes. That's some more good news. Thank you for sharing that. But yeah, and I hope people do this. I hope people go back. Okay. And there's a university right in my area, like right over there. I can see it. There's a university in my area that my son wanted to go to that university. So I was watching everything that happened last school year. And these people were going all around and around the stuff that they were made to do, the denials of religious exemptions and all of these other things. And it's just, I hope there's a bunch of students that were enrolled last year that had all of these things be denied, that they go back and they hold that university and the president, to task, take her down. Oh my gosh. Let's see who's the Roman prepper. The Army only has achieved 68% of its recruiting goals. Marines they're having a similar issue too. I know that one for sure. Nobody wants to do it anymore. Yes. And that is like, yeah, no, I'm not going through that crap, and it's not good. Oh, so your insurance. So who am I talking to here? Okay, Kim's Rural Life. So your health insurance required it to keep the health insurance to be able to see the doctors. See, yeah, I'm hoping that there are people, you should go back and say something to that, because all of these things are changing now. It's like, oh yeah, we won't need this to go back to school. We won't need to do this. And well, okay, so what'd you do for the past 2 years, people? Okay. You know, there are good people that made decisions, you know, that when you make certain decisions that you can't, you know, you can't take them back, and you make certain decisions in duress because they want you to keep your health insurance. Yeah, you want to keep your job, or you want to keep this, well, you're going to have to take it. That's not right. I just want you to know that that's not right. And going forward, you can say no, and then you can get this kind of information. Show them your rights. Just like, no, I have the Constitution. I have these things that protect me, and I can say no. Okay, it's all experimental use authorization. It's all, you can say no. You can say no. And yeah, it makes me mad too when people are forced to do it. No one should be forced to do it. If you choose it, that's fine. And that's what I always had a problem with, was arguing so much with people last year. Is like, I am not against a pin jab. I am for, or I am against the mandates. Oh, I said the word that I didn't want to say. Okay, so I don't know about this, Kim. They do own your body. There's got to be, there is a line there. I do know that there's a line where you have body autonomy on your person, on your physical person. But this is interesting. So if you get sunburned, you can be disciplined because you have damaged military property. I would love to know more about that, because that's fascinating to me that they would, you know, that they would be allowed to do that. Is my video not matching up? Okay, this, I don't know. Let's see. When was this comment? Is the video not matching up with the words still? Is there something bad on my end? Yeah, Kim's Rural Life about litigation. Yes. Yep. All right. Rapture Prepping, you're in Richmond, Virginia. I am in Northern Virginia, and the tippy top, you know, in Virginia where the little triangle is. Northern Virginia, close to West Virginia, a little too close for my opinion. Oh, all right. Oh my gosh, there's so many more comments here that that I just cannot get to. Let me see. Challenge the science. I love this. Yes, the Roman prepper. Challenge the science. Good scientific discovery was built on it. Dr. Flopsy. Yeah. Yep. Challenge it. Ask questions. You can't say no. And you do have rights. At least in Virginia. I mean, only Virginia. No, in the United States anyway. I can't speak for any other country. So, you know, so just saying that out there for any other people that are not part of the United States watching. Yeah, sometimes, no, I remember Prepping by Faith had said something, it was talking about getting exams for her kids before they went back to school, and she had to nicely but forcefully talk to her doctor about saying no. Okay, and a lot of this is we do get what I want to say, we kind of get conditioned, not kind of, we are conditioned into going along with the flow, you know, things that, you know, like I'm looking at like my grandparents down to my parents, down to me, down to, there, you follow a template. There was just this template. Everybody goes, you have, so hang on a second. So everyone goes to school. Okay. You go to all of the mainstream schools, and I call them government schools, and don't mean to offend anybody, but that's what they are. So you go to the government schools, you go through and you do all the things, your proms and your graduations, and then everybody went to college. And then after college, everybody went to get a job somewhere, 9 to 5. You get the nice little ranch style home that they all look the same. It was just like they just stamped them right out, boom, boom, boom. And then everybody had the same job. You clock in and out. Most of the women stayed at home, raised the kids, and they just washed, rinsed, and repeated the process. And then that was the definition of success. And nobody really questioned that. Well, then you got the homeschooling movement. I'm going to use that just because that's my life. And the homeschooling movement, I don't remember when that started, but way back when. When it first started, well, the homeschooling movement went against mainstream, and they're like, oh no, you can't do that. You don't have, you've got feral kids and they're dumb and they're stupid. But that went against the mainstream, and started breaking up that pattern of this is just how things are going. And so now there's all these different trains of thought, these different ways of doing things, and all of a sudden now we are the ones in my family to be the ones to break that stamping out, the what do I want to say, we broke the mold, I guess. And so we're the ones, and so yeah, we're the ones that are the crazy people. And I might as well have a tinfoil hat on, because homeschooling just does all of that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the immunization commercials, totally. Okay, we're getting close to the hour mark, and I really wanted to get started with oh gosh, the draft. This worries me too. That's a whole other topic we can talk about the draft. I have a son who's 19, and I wish that I could just hide him and that he doesn't have to register for the draft. I just hate that. Roman Prepper's probably gone by now, but thanks for coming. Be safe. Yeah, I've heard the word draft pop up, and I just don't even want to talk about it. Oh, okay. The sunburn, if it's so severe, it prevents you from doing your duties, and you can be disciplined. Don't they just make you suck it up? I mean, I don't know. I would think. Hi, Doreen. Okay, so let's just move on. And I want to see, wait a minute, if there was any more of these resources I wanted to share with you. I have so many resources that I want to share with all of you, but I do read the Constitution. Okay. And Constitution Week is every year from September 17th through the 23rd. This year is Constitution Week, but Constitution Day is September 17th in the United States. And in my homeschool, we do something every year. We read through the Declaration of Independence not every year, but we do it often, because if we don't read it, we forget it. And I'll never forget when I was homeschooling my oldest, and she was in 4th grade, and she had to memorize the first part of the Declaration of Independence. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union. Do you guys remember learning that stuff to Schoolhouse Rock? Yeah. Oh wait, not the Declaration of Independence. The first part of the I guess that'd be the first part of the Constitution. What am I thinking? Yeah, Constitution, right there. This part right here. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. You ever do that one? Y'all ever remember Schoolhouse Rock? Yeah, Schoolhouse Rock was the I'm just a bill. This how, you know, we learned a whole bunch of stuff. And I, you know, conjunction, junction. Oh gosh. Okay. So anyway, I was starting to say when my daughter, when we were doing history for her fourth grade year of school, okay, and this was one of the things that she had to memorize, but then she also was going through and reading parts of the Constitution, and she was like, "Hey, mom, it says that if your government is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, I'm paraphrasing. She says it says here that we can, you know, remove them and put a new government in." And I'm like, "Yes, we can." And she says, "Why aren't we doing that?" And I said, "Very good question." So anyway, if a fourth grader can understand how things are supposed to operate in the United States, then you all can too. Okay. Yeah. Schoolhouse Rock. Woo! All right. So prepping scenarios. Okay. Ooh, I need a little intro for prepping scenarios. You know, prepping scenarios. Okay. So I had one here that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to read a scenario, and then y'all, let's just share what you would do, or if you think that you're prepared or not prepared, if this gives you something to think about, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, all right. So here's the first prepping scenario. What if there's a natural gas leak in your neighborhood and you're told to evacuate immediately? Like now. Are you prepared? Drum roll. Thanks, LG. Yeah, Lori, Schoolhouse Rock is on YouTube. So yeah, we don't really watch it so much anymore, but back in the day we did. Yeah, thanks. You know what, you guys, please hit the like button. That really does help the channel, sharing out the stream. If you think there's somebody that might benefit from this as well, that would be wonderful. Okay, so Renata Clark, you said no, but I don't remember. What did I ask? Are you ready? Are you saying no to the prepping scenario? What if there's a natural gas leak in your neighborhood and you're told to evacuate like now? Are you ready? So if you're not quite ready, or you're like, oh, I haven't thought about that. And so let's just think about that. Okay. So there was a story I was reading from a woman. She said, this is why she became a prepper. This very thing, that she was woken up late at night and there were emergency people knocking on her door telling her that she needed to leave the house immediately. There was a natural gas main leak. And so she had 2 kids, a dog, and she said her husband was gone on a trip. And so she was home alone. And of course, all of this happens. And she had to get the kids out. Everyone was in their pajamas. She said her husband was gone with their only credit card. She said she couldn't find the dog's leash. You know, they had to get everybody in the car. She didn't have a lot. They went to a shelter. The shelter wasn't open yet. And so she had to wait. And then there was all this confusion, you know, and by the time, I think she said the total time was probably 8 hours. 8 hours of confusion and chaos and being unprepared. The shelter was unprepared. And what would you do? Thanks, Uncle Al. All right, LG. I'm not prepared. That did happen to me. And the fire department broke my door down and had to evaluate me. Oh my gosh, I almost died. That is scary. Yes, must have your bug out bag ready. And again, this is like, we don't think, this is one of the reasons why I want to start doing some of these prepper scenarios on these live streams, is because this got me thinking, I don't have anything. I'm prepared for like the big things, you know, like the you know, big things like power outages because of a storm, or, you know, tornadoes, or this kind of thing. You know, we're all prepared for like the big one, but we're not maybe something that we don't think about, some of the, like something that's closer to home, I guess. And and that's what I was thinking about what she was saying. Like, I don't even, for me, I'm not prepared for this because I don't have something ready to go. I mean, I got, when she mentioned the dog, I was like, oh, holy cow, I didn't even think about the dog. And make sure I don't have leashes by the door. We would be all over the place trying to get out. And we have a lot of construction in our area, so people are building homes, and this area is starting to build up, and we've had power shut off, just mysteriously, would just be cut off for some reason, and it would be gone for like 6 or 7 hours, and like we lost a whole day of school one day, and we were sitting by the fireplace because it was in winter. And so anyway, do you when, let's see, who's this? Lori says, when I was a teen, police showed up at the house saying we had to get out because someone had buried 20 pounds of dynamite in a field by my house, and they had to remove it. Had 10 minutes to leave. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's something you don't think about every day. So, Lori, how did you, you had 10 minutes to leave. Did you have enough time to get anything? Did you go to a shelter? Kim, I'm a child of the 70s too. Whoop. So having a go bag is going to be important. Something, or at least bags that have like dogs' leashes and things that might be able to just be thrown into your car quickly, snacks, things like that. Like, I'm like, I should be having this because we do have a lot of construction in our area. This could very well happen. A gas line rupture and it burst into flames about 5 miles up the road. Folks thought a nuke dropped, not thinking about the fact they had lights and cell phones. Oh my goodness. Storms, radios, and cats. I don't think I said hello to you, but an hour later, hello, welcome. Yeah, so this is something that we really need to think about, because there could be the something serious like that going, or there could be, I think about people in the wildfires areas and stuff, that they might have to like suddenly leave. And so so I got to thinking, like, do you even know, do you, Darlene, oop, I said my name, do you know where your shut off is outside your home? I don't even know where our gas shut off. I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's something I'm going to be doing. Do I have gas in my car? I do. I'm trying to make sure that I have a half a tank or more. Do you have cash? Do I have emergency cash? Which I do in my purse. I keep some emergency cash. And do you have an emergency bag to grab? Like when I remember when I was pregnant with my kids and we would have that, emergency bag ready to go to the hospital at a moment's notice, because you never know when that's going to happen. And now I don't have any bags prepped at all for an emergency evacuation. Like the dogs, I don't have any kind of leashes. I don't know where any of that stuff would be. We would be all over the place. And water. Yep. Remember the Roseville, California, the train yard? I don't remember any of that. We have wildfires in our area burning. And so, oh gosh, see, that's scary. Okay, Doreen. Let's see. You have one change of clothing, a couple cans of soup, a toilet paper roll, and water. That is awesome. That's more than I have. I need to have something ready to go. Was that if that were to happen, I mean, I would need to have at least a bottle of water for everybody. Maybe some protein bars. Yeah, change of clothes, just to have, and so one other question I wanted to think, okay, so let's say we do have this stuff already, you've got a bug out bag of some sort. And let's say you're not a bug out bag or a, get out of town bag, that's all whatever prepped and ready to go. Do you think this is overkill? I mean, we have, you've got something by the door, or I've got 5 people in my house. Do I have 5 bags at the door, or do I have like one big thing that we can just pick up and throw in the car when we go, right? Is it overkill to be having so much prepped up and ready to go? Doreen, you want food, you want stuff that won't spoil. That's true. You do. Some people would say that that might be overkill because, you guys are like prepped and ready to go for what? Well, you have fire and earthquakes and stuff in California. Okay. But I got to thinking, in this woman's story, she said that the shelter wasn't open. And so there you go. Like, what do you do? If the shelter's not open, you're in your car, she's in her car, she's in her pajamas. And the shelter that she was told that she needed to go to wasn't open. Some people in her neighborhood went to family, but if you're like, I don't have any family near me, so I wouldn't be able to go anywhere unless it was to, I don't know, we might be able to go to our RV. Oh, okay. That was a response to, let's see. My problem with my get out bag is partially too heavy, and the other doesn't have everything I would need to get me through 24 hours. Yeah. Weight is a concern with me. Like, what am I need to have something at the ready. And is it just to get me to, depending on the severity of the situation, I can get somewhere within 3 hours. But that depends on the situation. I'm 75, 80 miles from Washington, D.C. Okay. So if I'm going to go to a safe zone, which was one of our plans, I might not be able to go south in Virginia because there's major highways that are around military installations. I won't be able to go that way. So my other option was to go northwest. But I don't know, what kind of roadblocks would be in the way and stuff there too. But anyway, we're talking about going to a shelter. Yeah. So are we still talking about getting out of evacuating our neighborhood because of a gas leak? Are we still looking at that? Are we ready? Are you guys ready? Let me just put it that way. Are you guys ready? If you are able to actually just have to go somewhere for maybe 6 hours or so because there's something, an emergency in your area, and you just need to get out for a little bit and then you can come back. Usually that's how gas leaks work, unless something were to blow up and then we have another issue. But this really got me thinking. This woman said that she didn't have anything. She didn't know where everything was at. And then she went ahead and got prepared. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah. I'm getting post offices. Okay. Go to a church, right? We could probably do that. If the church was open, usually if that's going to happen, usually the gas company, I think, would actually set up a shelter area for you to go. Sometimes here there are schools, and we have a Red Cross that has a shelter. I'm trying to think if there's one other place. Then they have active shelters for places that we would need to go to. Oh, you know what? I did this too. I have one in there too. And I check it often. And I have a little card with me too that I carry in my purse. That's a personal thing that helps you register just in case. Well, I hope I just want y'all just to keep in mind, keep yourselves prepared. Okay. Always be thinking for those smaller things at home, a scenario that might happen, a power outage. Maybe there's a water main break. If that happens in the wintertime for us, that's really bad because that could be a really big problem. You know, that's no water for hours, or it could be bad water. So you want to make sure you've got some water for that. There's a power outage if it's extremely hot or extremely cold. Um, you know that, and again, these are all things I think about the construction that's going on in my area. These are all mishaps that have happened over the past, I don't know, 3 years. And so I'm like making sure that we, you know, have blankets at the ready and all of that good stuff. So you think about that stuff, you guys. Think about if you were ready to go at a moment's notice for something not too major, but something that you would have to leave. Are you ready? Are you ready to go? Do you have gas in your car? Do you know these things? So it's been an hour of 10 minutes, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you to my moderators for chatting with people and helping with commenting. And so anyway, I will not be doing this next week because we're going to be at our goddaughter's wedding, and we are so excited about that. But after that, I will be sure to look out for the off-grid education week that's going to be coming week after next, so starting August 30th. So anyway, have a good night. Hugs and kisses to all of you. I love y'all. Thank you for being here. Y'all remember to prep it up, pack it up, and stack it up, and don't stop. Okay, y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next video.